This screencast is an introduction to Google Forms. On Google, you will click New, and under More, you will find Forms. It will open up a new Google form, and you will give it a title. If you click on the top left, it will also change the title of the form in your Google Drive to the same thing as your title. It's up to you if you want to give your form a description. All your participants will see the description of your form. Then we build our questions. So there's multiple different question types. Easiest is multiple choice, where there's one correct answer. You can also do checkboxes where you can have more than one correct answer. You can do a drop-down menu where participants would see a drop-down menu and select from one answer from there. Short answer is great when you want your participants to write in their name or their email address or a couple words. Paragraph text is good for longer answers of a sentence or more, and it allows the text to be put in and will continue to return all the way down. You can also select linear scale, where it asks on a scale of 1 to 5, and you can select what your options are here. So you can do least to greatest. You can change this all the way up to 10 if you'd like. There's also multiple choice grid, which gives you a grid where the rows are the questions and the columns are the rankings of them. So a lot of times these are used as always, sometimes never, or strongly agree, agree, neutral, disagree, strongly disagree. Then that's what you would put in your columns. You can also put in date questions and time questions. So going back to multiple choice, I will make a question and I will have option 1, option 2, and option 3. Again, I can change these options to whatever I want. You can have unlimited options all the way down if you desire. You can make questions required by sliding the slider over, change if it is required. To make a new question, you click on the plus sign on the right-hand side, and I will call this test 2. I'm going to change this to a short answer question and make it required. Within short answer, in the 3 dots, you can also use data validation. So in data validation, if you want somebody to put in something specific, you can set it for data validation. You could do numbers and decide what the number has to be or greater than or equal to. With text, you can do contains. You can also do email address. So if you want somebody to put in their email address and you want to make sure it's an email address, it will look for the @ sign within their answer. The custom error text, you can put in whatever you would like. I might say something like, please enter a valid email address. This one. For paragraph text, you can put in paragraph text, same thing, and you can use data validation on this one. And the great thing is you can do a minimum or maximum character count. So a lot of times with my 7th graders, I'll put a minimum character count of 140 characters and put in some sort of goofy error message that says you're in 7th grade, you can write more than that. 140 characters is 1 tweet, so it's really not that much. But a lot of times to 7th graders who want to write IDK, it is quite a bit to write. So that's something else that is helpful for you on Google Forms. You can add in titles. This is an example title. And I can drag things with the 6 dots at the top of the question. So I put in an example title. I can put in images. I can put in videos. Unfortunately, you can only put in videos from YouTube at this time, which if your district blocks YouTube, defeats the purpose of putting in videos. You can also add sections. So a section, what that would mean is that the person would have to go to the next section to continue. So at the bottom of their form, there would be a next button and it would take them to the next section. So at any time, if you want to preview your form, you click on the eyeball on the top right toolbar, and this will show you what your form looks like. So I have my test form, I have my description of the form, I have my multiple choice question, and I can put in my email address, and it will tell me that I have to put in a valid email address, waiting until it sees the @ and the dot in there. And then here's the title. I didn't have anything under the title, but here's the example title. And then I click next. So this is going to the second section. And this is where I had to write in more than 140 characters, must be at least 140 characters. And I won't continue. So it won't let me submit until that is set at 140 characters. So going back to our test form, I'm going to delete this section. I will delete the title up top, put the email address. So then I will preview my form again, and then we will start collecting data. So I click preview, I'll put in option 1, and I'll put demo. Submit. And it says your response has been recorded. Do you want to submit another response? In this case, I'm going to say yes, just so that I have multiple responses to play around with the data. And back, so it says your response has been recorded. Submit another response. You can turn off submit another response. You can allow people to edit their response. You can also change this message. And you do that simply by going to the settings. And you can say that somebody can only submit once, which requires them to log in to their Google Drive. You can have it submit another response. You can have them edit responses if you'd like. You can have them see a summary of responses to see what has already been put in. The default message is your response has been recorded. You can change it to something else if you would like, and then you click save. So now you can see that under responses, I have 2 responses. So it automatically populates. As soon as I finish this form, it automatically put these in. So if I had this open live, it would start tallying a count as soon as responses clicked submit. So I click on my responses, and this shows me a summary of my responses. So I can see half of my participants selected option 2, half selected option 1, and I can also see the email addresses listed. This will work for every question type, and it will create different types of graphs based on the question. I can also break it down to see individual responses. So if I wanted to see what each individual person put, I can look at it this way. They put option 1 and the email address, and I can scroll through. And this way you can print them if you'd like. But the real place where we look at data is when we look at the spreadsheet. So I will click on the green icon that says create spreadsheet, and it will automatically name it the name of the form and in parentheses responses. So I'll create a new spreadsheet. And now my form is linked into this Google Sheet. So it gives me a timestamp of when each response was put in. This is helpful a lot of times if you have a competition to see who responds first. It'll tell you down to fractions of seconds. You can see how many people are responding each day. You see who answered what and their email address, and I'm resizing my columns to make things fit. So it will continue populating. If you have this open while people are populating or filling out the form, it will continue to add in. So you do not need to refresh. It will continue to add in as you go. So that is the basics of Google Forms and Google Sheets responses. Thank you for watching. Again, this is Mari Venturino. You can find more at www.mariventurino.com.